welcome to another episode of Diary of a Wannabe Comedian with me, Belle, a wannabe comedian. Now then, what can I talk about creatively? Monday evening, because I did the podcast slightly earlier. So in the evening, I was a bringer for my friend Ian, who got through the heat of the new old act of the year, or new old comedian of the year, something like that. And so he had another round on Monday and I was his bringer. And it was a very good night. Sadly, he didn't place, but you never know, he might get a wild card. But it was a good night because, I knew so many people, although that did make, because obviously being a bringer, I was able to vote. And that made voting quite tough, I'll tell you now, because the standard was very high. And the criteria for applying for this competition is that you have to be over 35, I think. And obviously I fulfill that criteria, and hence I will apply next year. I actually didn't even know it existed, so I would have applied this year had I known, but there you are. I will try next year. I did talk to the MC, who I think is also the producer of the night, and he was telling me about, where to find it and everything, and they start advertising in the new year. So that'll be my 2024. That's on maybe not the top of my list of things to do, but it's up there. It's up there. On Tuesday was my animation course, provided I was able to actually get there. Oh my word, the whole of this area was on lockdown, and I don't know why. I suspect they were doing practice runs for Armistice Day, because I don't live that far from Whitehall. And what's that thing called? Oh my God, it's got out of my brain. Where they put the wreath of poppies. Oh no, it's gone out of my brain. It begins with C. How can I forget? But anyway, all of that was just locked down, and I went up to a policewoman and I said, I need to go in that direction, which was basically the direction that was all locked down. And she just sent me on a massive detour. So I ended up walking, which is probably not a bad thing, but it did make me appreciate my knee. Because it wouldn't have been that long ago, that would not have been an option, and I would have either had to I don't know how I would have got a cab, to be honest, but I probably would have missed my class. But anyway, I did get there, and we learnt rotoscoping, which I never heard of before. I've seen it without realising. The most obvious example is Take On Me, the song by Aha, back in the 80s, which when I saw the video for that, I was blown away. I was like, what is this magic? It was just amazing. It kind of slipped into cartoon and real life, and it flipped between the two, and I was just, like I said, I was blown away at how amazing this was. And little did I know that it's actually very easy. I'm sure it's a lot harder back in the 80s, but with Photoshop, it's dead easy. I will put what I've been doing in my vlog when I get around to doing that, obviously, so you can have a look. It's not that impressive. And actually, I say it's easy. You do need a certain level of skill with we use a Wacom pad and pen, and you need a certain level of skill using that. And I don't really have that, so I just cheated. But you'll see that. I'm pleased with the outcome anyway. Not a lot more creative news. I do have a gig tomorrow, so fingers crossed that goes better than my last gigs, because they've been horrific. And big news. Not creative really, but big news. Caramac bars have been axed. Now, I don't know if I don't know if they're available or have been available across the world, but they are basically a chocolate bar that is bright orange and so sweet that it makes every single tooth in your head hurt when you eat them. But they're just delicious. And I don't know how I'm going to get on without having a Caramac bar in the rest of my life. It's just a horrific thought. They're not right at the top of my list of chocolate bars, but they are definitely in the top 5, I would say. Yeah, Dime Bar is probably right at the top. That's probably number 1 for me. But I do like a Caramac bar, but they are very, very sweet. There is a new, I say new, it's been out about a year, I think, and that's obviously its replacement, and I think they must have trialled it and found that it was popular, and that's why they're getting rid of Caramac. But, that's a bit of history that's gone now. Caramacs have been around for as long as I can remember. So there you go. All good things come to an end, as they say. Which just leaves me one thing to say. Much love and gratitude.